So, Trickster got the new most anticipated update in his history. A new map, a new female version of him that cost money of course. We do gunbaiting in this house, people. But, did it fulfill our expectations? Did it actually make Trickster a good killer to play with and against? The answer is no. But it's very close. Let me explain. Trickster changes, gameplay-wise, include a new combo meter that we can now see. In the past we had one, but it was hidden. Also, this new combo meter gives him a variety of buffs, depending on which rank he is on. He's back to 4.4 speed and 6 lacerations instead of 8 per health state, just how he was when he came out. However, he's way more stylish now and in my opinion way more fun to play. A special cool looking color in water effect for when he hits knives. A brand new Mina skin that changes Trickster completely. You could say that all of this is amazing news. Trickster is now cooler than ever and stronger than ever? Well, no. As always, the art department completely nailed it. He looks as stylish as we all wanted him to be. I mean, his team can be hurt when he's on chase on S rank, like, damn! However, the game balance team disappointed big time. He's been back on 4.4, makes him miserable on a lot of loops and maps. The decay meter feels too short, but this I like, although apparently he got buff, so it does no longer feels as short, but I prefer him with the shorter timer because it offers a better counterplay for survivors, and he got a nerf to his knife capacity because, yes.
Well, at least I'm leaving with my dignity.
No, we'll have that too. Your pants, put them in the bag.
Also, behavior, can you please fix the hit scan? There has been tons of times where I see the water heat effect for 3 consecutive knives, but no sound or progress towards laceration meter. Remind you, we have way less knives to carry than ever. Like, alright, but give me my knives back. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, I prefer him how he is after the update because he's way more fun to play, but he's now weaker than ever. His potential being locked behind S rank makes him half a killer 80% of the time, and when he gets S rank, then he feels like he lacks something? But there is a way of fixing this. In my opinion, he should become 4.6 when he's on S rank. Just how Springtrap can change move speeds depending on if he has his axe or not. Before the rework, he was 4.6 with 8 lacerations. I didn't like this version of him because it kinda lagged weight into each knife. Now he feels like hitting knives matter, but there's still something that feels wrong. The feeling of throwing knives is kinda off. Like it lacks weight somehow. And I know what it is. You'll see. In previous versions of Trickster, he had this mechanic that makes his first 2 knives very slow, but then progressively get faster. He in paper still has this, but way toned down. Now he feels like his knives are fast or slow at all times, no matter how many you are throwing consecutively. This happens because he used to have a throwing speed curve, designed so the more you throw, the faster he throws. He lost this curve in exchange for the new simplified system. The way it works right now is that you get 5% throw speed bonus after throwing 5 knives, and 10% after throwing 10 knives. That is all the curve you get. And yeah, you can barely feel it. What you can feel is the rank buffs. The issue is that these rank buffs apply directly to the base throw speed, so you start throwing super slow in D tier or super fast on S tier. This makes it so the 5% and 10% curve feels like it wasn't even there. This is technically good on paper, but it feels bad and artificial. My take on this is to re-implement the curve in a more aggressive focus. So when you start throwing knives, you start super slow and then get super fast. The easiest way is to apply the rank modifiers on the curve instead of on the base throw speed. But why? Why to do this? Let me tell you why, talking about the weakest aspects of Trickster. He's a killer that differentiates from Huntress, Deathslinger, and Springtrap on how he gets results or injuries. He requires to maintain line of sight, something that any other range killer don't need. He feels closer to Myers or even Plague on that aspect. Also, he's the only range killer that can lose a chase to a healthy survivor and lose all the progress he made, because 5 lacerations doesn't mean he will get the injury. Also technically unknown, but that is exactly why he became the Harmless. This and he being a 4.4 makes it so he struggles a lot on many tiles that cover survivors, that also affect maps a lot. Some maps he will be decently strong, and some maps he will be almost unplayable. The current version of him makes it so on maps like this he will lose sight constantly and barely be able to hit knives, with the downside of always seeing the tail of the survivor but never being able to maintain sight for a significant amount of time. Ironically, Huntress can work way better over this, because if she gets close enough, and she has barely the amount of sight necessary to hit at least one hatchet, then that will be enough to get the injury, making her better over Trickster on a worst case scenario. This makes it so Trickster doesn't even work on a situation that should be better for him, causing a lack of identity because, let's be real, he's a worse, more stylish Huntress. Yeah, looks cool, but gameplay wise he's just worse. What I propose is a set of changes that will make him feel better to play while giving him an identity and more options, just how Huntress can choose to hold the hatchet to lose curvature but gain speed. For starters, make him 4.6 on S rank. This makes it so trying to reach S rank is way more rewarding and an actual danger to survivors. If they hear you are on S rank, they shall be scared because you're on the strongest. The issue with this is that we're giving everything to S rank. This makes it so his kit is not consistent enough through the match, but only on specific moments. Because of that, I think he should lose the buff of never losing laceration while on S rank, and making it so getting to S rank is harder and require more points to get it. Also, letting him go up to 40 knives. It's a good middle point because honestly, the amount of knives he has right now feels bad. Now, for the other ranks, he should have the slow to fast throw speed curvature I was talking about. However, he should throw fast, way faster, depending on what rank you are on. Right now it says that after 5 blades throw speed is increased by 50%, and on 10 you throws 100% faster, independently from your rank. However, this is not 100% true, and reality is that this 5% and 10% speed buff is applied after your rank buff is applied. This tiny buff to throw rates is almost impossible to feel and you barely use it. The rank buff, however, is way more noticeable, but the issue is the same I mentioned. When you get your blades out, you just start to throw as fast as your rank says, and the 5 or 10% buff is almost like if it wasn't even there. So you just throw super slow or super fast depending on your rank. There isn't even a wind up or anything, so it just feels wrong and it technically doesn't work as good as you would think. My take on this is to make it like the wind up he used to have, with more noticeable faster throw rate the more you throw, even faster than the one we already have at the moment. I will also add a faster movement speed for the first 4 knives than the one we have right now. Instead of 3.86 meters per second, he should go up to 3.94 meters per second. And for instance, go way slower the faster he throws, at 4 knives going down from 353 meters per second, that's the one we have right now, to 5.45 meters per second. And let the 8 knives slower movement speed be how it is right now, I think that's fine. This will make it so him being a 4.4 doesn't affect as much his looping capabilities on knife throwing while keeping him from turreting. Unless you really want that, but then you will be immobile faster. This bigger curve also makes you feel like he is concentrating more on throwing than on moving, making up for the faster throw rate at slower speeds, improving the fun aspect and feel aspect while keeping him balanced and giving him better use of his resources. And for the throw speed, his ranks should add to the 4 and 8 knives instead of applying base kit. I also think that he should have a buff on the faster throw rates when throwing more than 8 knives, so it makes up for the slower initial throw speed at the start while also giving the player the option of turreting, if the situation is there to do so. These changes will ensure that Trickster is harder to leave behind on tall loops while keeping his strength on short loops. I feel that keeping the laceration timer short will also be a good balancing because Trickster will now be harder to leave behind. This will make it so if Trickster commits a mistake that survivors can capitalize on, he will lose progress, giving survivors more options to counterplay. And for the last but not least, ranks. Ranks should be harder to get, but we should have more ways to get rank points, especially with knives. Instead of every 4 knives giving you 1 point, we should get 1 point per knife hit after you already hit one and didn't miss. So, if you hit a knife, the next one should give you 1 point. This will make it so accuracy is felt per knife, giving us yummy feedback that tickles our brains, while also letting you rank up consistently. Things like long knives hit consistently should give 2 points each, so for every consecutive knife you hit without failing, you should get 2 points. I think shooting through small cracks still being 3 points is good enough, but if you hit through a small crack from further than 16 meters, it should be 5 points. That's insane and should be rewarded like it. For small holes, there is no modifier for consistent hits, so you get a consistently hit bonus or through the needle bonus. This will make it so if you hit knives that are hard to hit, you will get rewarded, getting to that juicy S rank that will make you a monster. This will let players do incredible shots for a reward instead of going for downs. These changes will require that ranks require more points because, well, of course you have many ways to get points now. My guess is moving from points required from 2 to 10 per rank. This could be balanced however depth seem fit. Also, knives that doesn't give you points should at least stop the time of each rank for a couple of seconds, rewarding the player for doing what Trickster is supposed to do. So even if you're not that good with the killer, you will get to S rank sooner or later. The last thing with ranking system is doing different interactions gives you points. I think this should be left exactly how it is. I find it useful and interesting, however I don't think it should be a strong way to gain points, but it should be a way of keeping the rank so you don't go down. For instance, it should be left exactly as it is, with a couple of bug fixes because sometimes this system doesn't give me my points. That will be all for my version of Trickster. It is mostly a change in numbers, but I believe it will give the killer the identity it needs, while also having a good counterplay, unless on S rank. But because of reducing the times you get S rank through a match, unless you hit insane knives. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? This is only my opinion, and honestly I just want my beloved Tricky Boy to get out of C, D tier to at least B tier.